Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Vento Aureo, or Golden Wind if you prefer, episode 14. So yeah, we are finally back after a week off, because last week there was really only the recap episode, which apparently had nothing at all new in it. So it was just recap. So we're back with finally new content, and this definitely seems like a point where the series would kind of verge off into the next arc, and at the point where we would get a new opening. So I'm hoping to see a new opening. Not that the other one was bad, I'm just hoping we get a new one at this point, because it's about that time where we would get one. So last we left off, we had finished getting everyone's backstories and all. Fugo had his episodes, even though they were definitely not giving him any credit for anything. No, Abbacchio and Giorno had to solve his problems for him, basically. I really hope they give Fugo some real time to shine in the future, because that was pathetic. Just with the way it was handled, he should have had his time to shine there. That was his introductory, his focused episodes, and he was completely nerfed, basically, for the sake of the plot. And for the sake of giving Giorno and Abbacchio more attention than they needed at that point. Either way, we ended off with the leader of the assassination group planning his next move, and our heroes now have the key for the transport that'll supposedly get Trish to her father, the leader of Passion. So we're gonna see where this goes. I know nothing about what's to come, so yeah, I'm excited. In the meantime, let's just get this going. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so two things I really want to talk about here. That I really think obviously needs to be referenced. First, the opening. The opening didn't change. And that's really disappointing, because it really felt like it should have, especially with the fact that the last week we got a recap episode. It really feels like it should have been the point of change for that, but instead it wasn't. And it feels really, it just feels disappointing, you know? It just feels like it was perfect timing, and they didn't act on it. But meanwhile, moving on from that, we have let's just talk about the episode. So Bruno's gang is at the train station. They're at the train station trying to find where the key fits. The place they're led to, it doesn't seem to be working until Bruno notices the turtle. However, there are two others on their trail, and that is Pesci, who uses the fishing rod-based stand Beach Boy, which, by the way, yes, it is Beach Boy. I did look that up. While we have Prosciutto, who uses the Grateful Dead. Both some pretty good references to some pretty good bands. Beach Boys I was never a huge fan of, same with Grateful Dead, but from some of the stuff I've heard of them, they are pretty good. It's just they're not as much my kind of music, not anything I would actively listen to. So Beach Boy is a fishing rod that is able to fish through objects. It can go through objects and pull things through that object, such as pulling a person through a door, as long as it hooks onto them, or whatever. It can also go into someone's body, as we saw at the end with Mista. It's really interesting. I wonder if there's anything else to it than that. I guess we'll just have to find out. It's also interesting that it's a stand that's a fishing rod, that it's like a object instead of like some kind of physical being. That's an interesting concept. But then we have Prosciutto, whose Grateful Dead is more of a being, its own being. And the Grateful Dead apparently has the ability to make people age rapidly until they die. Which is fucking terrifying and really unnerving and... you guys know that there are some things that really just get to me, that really bother me. Make me extremely uncomfortable. One of which is eye horror. Any horror based on the removal of eyes, stabbing of eyes, sharp objects getting close to eyes, stuff like that freaks me the fuck out. Another one is rapid aging. Rapid aging is something that's been in a lot of different content. It's honestly nothing new. But every time I see it, it freaks me out. Just the idea of your body rapidly aging to the point where it's dying, it's becoming more painful, and it's just like you start to see your bones through your skin. Just everything about it freaks me out. Oh god. So it's like seeing it happening to Narancia was really unnerving, and everyone else even. So my question is though, is the parameters put on it, is that something that Prosciutto, that's his name. It's a really weird name for a person. Is that something that Prosciutto has to actively do? Like, does he have to choose the parameters, or is that just how it works? Does he choose, like, can he change that at any time, for example? Or, again, is that just how it goes? That's what I'm curious about. We saw that Pesci was eating ice cubes in order to keep himself cool. And we saw that the ones who had kept themselves cool of our heroes in the Turtle were aging a lot less quickly. And we know because of like biological factors, it's affecting the male characters a lot quicker than Trish. But there's also a question that raises. Is it affecting them slower inside the Turtle? Because there's a woman, I guess, who apparently appeared to have aged until death. She looked like she was dead. And her baby, or child, or whatever, was crying on her, like saying, "Mommy, wake up," and despite, of course, having rapidly aged as well. The woman looked dead, and she had very rapidly aged. But it's like, so was it affecting them a lot more harshly on the train because, you know, it was more direct? Or what? Or was the mother somehow, or did she somehow have a much warmer body temperature somehow? That's a big question that's raised. Because they made a very big point of stating that women would have a warmer body temperature, or a colder body temperature, whatever. That they wouldn't be affected as quickly, and that they would age at a much less rate, because, of course, our villains need to have Trish alive. So why was that one woman we saw, the mother, why was she already fully affected by it to the same degree, if not more, than our heroes were? That really, I'm really not sure about that. I don't know. I do not know. But either way, yeah, it looks like we have Mista. He has been chosen. I don't know why specifically him, but he's been chosen to go up and fight everyone, to fight the enemy, and ends up getting caught in Pesci's trap. Pesci set a trap so that if anyone tried to turn on the air conditioning in the driver's cabin, I guess, just to call it that. But if anyone tried to turn on the air conditioning, they would be caught by Beach Boy, which is what happened. And Mista was trying to turn on because he thought, oh, if there's air conditioning here, it'll help start to fix things with everyone inside the turtle, because the turtle's under the seats in the driver's cabin and all. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen now. I don't know how Mista is going to get out of this, how he's going to fight off both of them, but I guess we'll see. He's definitely capable, but I don't know if he could fight off two different people at once. We'll have to find out next time. But either way, yeah, this episode really unnerved me. Ooh. I can't wait to see more specifics for Beach Boy and Grateful Dead. And I'm really interested to see if we ever get a new opening, because it felt like with last week finishing off, or with the last episode 13, finished off a big part of the arc. We have all of our main characters, all of Bruno's games introduced. We have their backstories and all, and they get the key. They're heading to the boss now. It's the end of an arc. It really feels like they're moving into something. And then the week after that, we have a recap episode. Definitely makes it feel like it's moving into the next part of the series. So it would definitely feel like it would make sense to then bring in a new opening. But no, apparently not. Apparently we're just continuing with this for now. I hope that the opening does change soon. Again, nothing against our current opening, but it's just about that time. We need to have a new opening soon, because just to keep things fresh, for one, that's one of the reasons why these anime change their openings, to keep it fresh, to keep it interesting, as well as to change things up in terms of like giving us like hints and stuff about what's to happen and all. Because the opening to a series is paramount in like getting you excited for a series. And after you watch the same opening for so long, it starts to get boring and starts to make you lose interest in it. At which point people just skip past it, and a lot of times you'll end up becoming less and less interested because of it. When the opening changes, however, it gets you excited to see what is coming next, because the opening will start to kind of foreshadow things, and you'll start to look for things, and it'll get you even more interested. I mean, certain live-action shows can pull off not changing the opening, or only having minor changes, like Monk or Psych. And then there's some that have like very, very minimalist openings that just are like only a few seconds long, like Breaking Bad or Supernatural. Those ones can keep their same openings, because with Monk, Monk's opening is iconic, and it changes in little ways. Like the things that Monk is doing, certain characters will change, updated scenes for certain characters, stuff like that. But then like Supernatural and Breaking Bad, they're only a few seconds long, so it's like it doesn't really build up any excitement or hype anyways, no matter what. But especially with an anime, like most anime change their opening after a certain amount of time, unless it's like only a 12-episode series or something. When it's like a 24 or so episode series, there will usually be 2 openings, and the second opening will start halfway through. This series is, 30-something episodes long, I believe? Let me just check real quick. I have it on my anime list, so I can just check it there. It's something along that line. I believe it's the same amount of episodes as the last part. 39 episodes. So that means, and if it's just like with Diamond is Unbreakable Part 4, then you would think there'd have to be 3 openings. And so changing it at this point would honestly be the best point to change it. Episode 14, and then maybe at episode 28. Yeah, that would be perfect, pretty much. But it's just like, if you're going to have 3 openings, you should have changed it by either last episode or this one. And again, in terms of how the story was going, and in terms of having the fact that we did have a recap episode last week, it just makes no sense that there was no new opening this week. Maybe they'll do it next week. But even that, at this point, would feel kind of weird if they waited until episode 15. And definitely if they waited until 16. Because at that point, they're just pushing it way too far. I don't know. We're going to have to see. Hopefully, it changes soon. It needs to at this point. Because the opening is heavily focused on introducing our main characters and everything, and that's already kind of done. So it's like, it feels like it's old now. It feels like it's not relevant to what's currently happening in the series. So, yeah, hopefully it changes soon. Either way, the episode itself was fantastic and really unnerving. So, I'm not complaining about the episode or even the series as a whole. I'm just saying, it feels like a really weird and kind of bad decision to not change it in this episode. Personally for me. But either way, tell me your thoughts on this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Vento Aureo, or Golden Wind if you prefer. Tell me your thoughts on the new stands we've met. Tell me your thoughts on just what's going on in general. Tell me your thoughts on the turtle. And thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, if you know what's going to happen, please, no spoilers. And that means no spoilers of any kind. So thank you so much for tuning in, and for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See you all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,